Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelorette Nation News. We have Jonathan speaking to Nick Viall, and we have Jenn speaking to Caitlin Bristow about each other. Could they get back together? My guess is no, but we're going to find out why. They do both share new information about why the relationship didn't work, so we're going to dive into it. I'll play what she said, what Jenn said on Off the Vine podcast, but first, what's the deal with them? Well, they took the internet by storm. I said breaking news here 3 days ago. Jenn posted, "Guess we'll never know." Jonathan Johnson here, of course. Is that his name? Jonathan Johnson? I didn't even know that was his last name. Either way, yeah, they got 6-7 million views. It was like, oh my gosh, they're back together. They filmed this at a pool at night. I mean, come on now. They're, couples that TikTok together stay together. And anyhow, so let's listen to what Jonathan had to say on the prestigious Viall's Files podcast.
So where did y'all film these TikToks or videos?
Sorry. I want to go back a tiny bit to the 17-second mark here, 1:14:17. So this is Nick asking the question about, kind of getting all the ins and outs of the TikTok video we just saw.
We keep in touch.
So where did y'all film these TikToks or videos?
My buddy was doing a photo shoot in the hills, so we rented out a house, and she just happened to be in Burbank.
For sure.
Like, oh,
yeah, for sure.
Let's get together before she left for Boston. And then, we should make some videos. So we grabbed dinner, made some videos.
Oh, we grabbed dinner.
Oh.
Okay.
How was dinner?
Where'd you go?
You know this is what the world...
Sushi. Yeah. We literally walked out of sushi, and a car drove by. They're like, Jen, Jonathan. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't get popped, as they like to call it. Paparazzi.
Can we just settle this right here and now? Is there a chance you might sincerely give the people what they want, or is this another like Tyler Cameron, Hannah Brown situation where you're just leaning in?
I don't know if Tyler Cameron and Hannah Brown just led into it. I think they hooked up, right? She like stayed over, and didn't they catch one of them doing the walk of shame, the stride of pride the next morning?
And you're getting us excited, but at the end of the day, you guys are just friends.
Don't toy with my emotions.
That's a crazy question to answer.
Now, Jonathan was smitten over her at the Men Tell All, right? He's ranking her dresses, which, by the way, you could say was super objectifying, but when it comes off in a charming way like Jonathan, with someone who wants it received that way, of course, I think Jenn and Jonathan had a good connection there. Although Jenn was very stoic in not really giving him any flirtatious energy back.
What would you want?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. It's a hard position to be in,
Jonathan.
I'll tell you this. It's a hard position to be in when I think, and I'm not just trauma dumping right now, but like, I think people have been in love with the idea of me before and then not actually myself. So to get eliminated third, but everybody else can see it except for the person that you wanted to, it's hard to go back on that and be like, you know what? I still,
well, that's relatable. I think Tyler experienced something similar. Everyone loved Tyler. Hannah didn't pick Tyler. Runner up. And then all of a sudden, everyone loved Tyler, and it seemed like, well, why do you love me now? Kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's not to say that it could not ever happen. I'm not saying that.
Answer me this.
Yes.
Has there been a sincere conversation between you and Jenn about the possibility of exploring something outside of the show more?
I like to give roses where they're due, and I think this is a good line of questions. Nick didn't just settle for the initial answer. He's digging deeper, one might say.
More than friends.
The conversation has not been had yet. No.
It has not been.
Yet.
No. Yeah. I mean, she's going to be in LA for the next 2 months. This is where I live, so.
But has there been flirting text?
I don't know. I don't know what you define as flirty.
You're an adult. How would you flirt? I don't know. I want to know how you define it.
I'm an 8-year-old at heart. I can't tell when somebody's flirting with me or just trying to give me a high five. I don't know.
And by the way, that's what creates the friend zone, right? Someone being like, is she into me? Are we friends? And like, you don't know. You never willingly walk into the friend zone. You're like, I thought we were hanging out, and next thing you know, I'm like her best friend. I'm not the guy she's into. So you can really feel his... look, it's right. She dumped him, right? She sent him home. He did not win. And then, easier said than done to look at it in hindsight and go, okay, well, now he's quite the catch because she sees the internet loves him. I don't think Jen's got that mentality. I think Jen's pretty pure with what she wants. Their relationship was slow progressing, and what Jenn had to say about it makes me feel like there is not much of a chance for them. We'll get to that in a second. Let's finish this.
He's so goddamn charming.
He really is.
All right, let's rewind.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. All right.
how'd you?
All right. That's enough of that.
All right, so that's all they have there. So again, we shared some of these clips on the last video we made here. But here's Jenn speaking with Kaitlyn Bristowe. Kaitlyn was supposed to interview Jenn live, but got sick. So wishing Kaitlyn a speedy recovery here. But here's what Jenn had to say about Jonathan.
Their way. And is there a guy that stood out to you that you wish you would have given a shot in hindsight, like perhaps Jonathan or something? I don't know.
Oh, the internet loves Jenn and Jonathan.
I know. I know.
No, honestly, I don't think that I would have went back and like chosen anybody different. Yeah, everything worked out the way it needed to. I have so much.
Now, by the way, Katie Thurston said the same thing with regards to picking Blake Moynes versus picking Greg Grippo, right? It's no surprise that somebody's not going to admit that there might have been a different scenario. I think there are multiple doors that are open on the show. Obviously, choose this guy, choose that guy. And you don't want to feel like you made the wrong choice. As Jenn said, we covered this in the last video. She said, look, the guy I chose was the guy who was consistent every single step of the way. The problem with the show is Jonathan might have been a better catch in real life that wasn't going to give you everything you needed up front. He's going to work on his own time. That might be, like you said, because he's an inner 8-year-old, but maybe that's what you want. You want a guy who's not going to be smooth and say all the things you want to hear. And Jonathan was slow, but if you gave that relationship another couple dates, that could have been a raging fire. But instead, it was blown out. It was snuffed.
Much love and like gratitude for the guys on my season. There were so many great guys. Like there were a few that were like, okay, but there were a lot of great guys as well who I genuinely want to be friends with and like can't wait to grab a beer with them all and just hang out.
So back to the friend zone. Let's jump to the 20-minute mark here. And this is, of course, not what you want to hear if you're Jonathan, because look, it's pretty evident that Jonathan still has a thing for her. But maybe what Jonathan needs is her kind of pursuing him hard,
Why you did send Jonathan home?
There was a lot. There was a lot. It just wasn't there.
It wasn't there.
I don't think he'll mind me saying this, but like he just wasn't sure about doing long distance as well. And I was like, I live in Miami. Like, I'm not going to be moving and he's not going to be moving. So we were both just kind of like, we didn't know, like long distance wise, if his heart wasn't in it and like mine wasn't, then it wasn't going to work. Yeah.
Now, this is a slightly separate scenario, but when I was living in New York City, there was a lady who I had my attention on from afar. She lived in Los Angeles, and I thought that I was into her, but I wasn't going to move across the country and risk that. I was happy where I was in New York. Well, I got a job offer to move to Los Angeles to open for a comedian. And I took that job for my own benefit, right? It was good for me. And I said, I'm going to go do this. The first person I called when I moved across the country to Los Angeles was that lady. Now you might say, well, Dave, what happened with her? We're married and we have a child, and he is the cutest kid in the world. He actually won cutest kid competition at the Tennessee State Fair. The point of the story is the environment where love can exist is very important. Right, we saw with Jenn and Devin. She thought that they were on these great terms when they were in Hawaii, and it's like, sorry, take it. I'll fall in love with my cable guy in Hawaii. You know what I mean? Beautiful flowers. They got luau's, not literally. But the truth is conditions have to be right. You have to be moving in parallel directions, sometimes career-wise, lifestyle-wise. So many different things have to be right. And the show doesn't factor in all of those variables when it comes to finding love. They put you in an environment to find love, whereas the environment in real life might be different looking. So Jenn says, I'm never going to move to Los Angeles. I'm going to stay in Miami. Well, look, here's the deal. A lot of people move to Los Angeles. It's the entertainment hub. Jen's going to be there for 2 months for Dancing with the Stars. She might have opportunities that keep pulling her back there. She might move to LA. Jonathan lives in LA. If they're in the same environment, hey, you never know what can happen. But with that said, if I'm Jonathan watching this, I'm not getting any of those affirmations that would lead me to think we're anything but friends.
Yeah.
So that was like a major factor as well that we like had talked about. But other than that, like no, like we're on such good terms. Like we've spoken since the show. And so yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean some relationships are just better off as friendships. Relationships don't have to be romantic, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But if they start as friends, they can always escalate, and it's always good to fall back on a great friendship.
Absolutely. And like, I'm so excited to like, I'm so glad to know that you were friends with some of the guys on your show. Cause I'm like, oh, how is this going to look? Are people going to think I'm weird? But I'm like, no, like I just
no, be friends with the guys on your show. Absolutely. I'm sorry. I wasn't showing you the video of the last thing I was sharing, but it was Jenn still in front of a pink background, which I really like this background. Listen, for every contestant, they should have like a really nice Skype or a Zoom setup like this, or I say contestant, but alumni from the show. Like I'm sure she's traveling, but it really helps out when you're doing these interviews to have a nice little visual here. I don't think it's weird at all that Jenn wanted to keep or wants some of these guys to be friends. At the same time, they don't owe that to her, and it might come if Jonathan is into Jenn and wants to see something work with her, and Jenn wants to be friends. I mean, at some point you have to pull away from that. You have to pull away and say, look, I want to be more than friends. I don't think we gave it a fair go, so I'm gonna not do the friend thing with you. Like everyone's entitled to do what they want with it, but you know, at the same time, you never know. You never know when feelings come up. You know, one thing you're doing TikTok videos, making fun, going, oh boy, the internet thinks we should be together. And the next thing you know, you're snogging, I think is the British term for making out, right? Snogging. Do I have that right? They are, necking. Is that the term from the 50s? Necking. Either way, wish them both well. Jonathan will do just fine on his own. And so will Jenn. But the story's not dead. It might only be 1 in a million, but what about all that 1 in a million talk? All right, that's going to be it for me. We'll have the podcast coming out next, The Rush Hour with Dave Neal. If you have not already done so, hit the subscribe button by scanning that QR code. That'll take you to the free twice daily podcast, The Rush Hour, where you get all of your entertainment and pop culture news with a touch of TikTok, all the viral stories. And we'll actually be going over the big debate tonight. The direction of the free world is going to be decided based on what goes down tonight. And, oh boy, we'll have to see how it all goes. I'll see you then. Bye now.